Hello, my friends. Welcome to the metal shop. And I guess this is part, God, I think, is it part 5, maybe? Sorry, it's just a lot of work. I got the bridge inserts nicely countersunk. It's mahogany, so I did the best I could with a hand drill, with a countersink, and I want to say it was a very precise drill bit there into the 64ths to get the proper size hole, but I did get them nicely countersunk. Let's see here. I want to make sure I have the right one on and all the way decked all the way down. This will go on nicely. Yeah, of course, it did for me off camera, but doesn't want to do it now. There we go. A little persuasion, never hurt. Decked all the way down. We're still going to need a sizable shim there, even with what I've bought us in real estate there. So let's get to installing that shim and getting this thing all wired up and for final assembly. All right, cool. All right, so it's been one day since I was last here where I countersunk the inserts here for the bridge and got it lowered down. And Amazon to the rescue. I ordered, told you I wanted to use full size wooden shims in the neck pocket here. And I ordered them yesterday. And 6:45 a.m. I let the dog out and these things were sitting on my doorstep. So these are probably, I'm not sure where they're made, Chinese knockoffs or whatever. But the StewMac shims are $30 for 3 shims, okay? And these are just maple shims. The StewMac ones, I will say this, they fit better. They are cut to Fender specs perfectly. This one, I already sanded, and that's how I just went after it with a sanding drum here to make it fit the neck pocket perfectly. I tried the 1/2 inch first. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I don't know if you can see that. That's by how much they don't fit. And I'm sure there's a reason for it. They're probably more generic and they fit a lot more different guitars, where the StewMac are clearly made to fit a Fender or a standard size pocket. Anyway, $10 for 3 shims, come in a nifty little metal case inside of a Ziploc bag, which is kind of cool, whatever. Next day, ordered them yesterday afternoon, 6:45, these were waiting for me. So that's really a no-brainer. I'm not going to pay $10 per shim when I can get 3 of the exact same things off-brand, you know. And the StewMac were going to be like 7 to 10 days. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I also bought these, I can't remember who made these, Max Cheer, but these are brass shims of all different widths. Kind of cool. I don't like the idea of, if it's a piece of paper or a business card in there, just barely lifting up the neck, that's fine. But once you get into, some of these are pretty wide, and now you're creating a big air gap. I don't want that. Although, with this weird neck pocket, you will never see it. You'll never see it. So here, let's pry this off. So I have the 1 inch in there. 1 inch. The 1 degree shim in there. I'm going to try that. I'm probably going to have to take the neck off and on a bunch of times to get it fitted. I've hit it with a straight edge to try and see, what you really need to use is a string out a piece of dental floss or a guitar string itself. And I usually keep 10s and 9s over here on the workbench, and it appears that I'm out. Next string change I do, I'm going to keep a set of strings just for this. So I am ready to, I'm going to attach the neck. Like I said, it's probably going to have to come off and on a few times for setup purposes, but I like that whole pocket shim. And if you find the one that you really like, it's just perfect, you could even glue it in. For a situation like this, that may be the thing to do, because it's never going to come out. This is set for a Tune-o-matic that needs a certain neck angle. I think they had a big plastic shim in there, would be my guess, just from the witness mark. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to get the neck bolted. I'm going to get this awesome strap button screwed on, and I am going to use the end pin jack and that strap button as my strap buttons. I just think that's kind of cool. I'm going to get the tuners mounted. I did want to ask you guys a question. The last video here was about 30 minutes long, if you don't count the little mad tweets, the little angry, what do they call them? Mean tweets. If you don't count the little mean comment section I did at the end, that was about 5 minutes. It was about 30 minutes, so it was a little bit on the longer side. And what I did was I shot some of the, the action sequences where I'm actually working in real time, and I sped up the film. Do you prefer that, or do you like the actual time lapse, which basically puts, I can put 2 hours into 30 seconds. So I am going to do a time lapse because that's boring. I'm just going to bolt on the neck. I'm going to bolt on those tuners, and that's really going to be it for now. I'm really in a holding pattern, waiting for the pickup ring, the output jack ring, and so on, so I can really get things going here. But this should be the last part in the series, I hope. Also, let me know, like I said, I did ask you the Exciter pickup, the Sir Doug Aldrich, or the Double Cream Dirty Fingers pickup. What are you guys feeling for sound and for looks? Let me know. So let's switch over to that time lapse and get this thing bolted on here. Cool. All right, well, you just watched me in 30 seconds. It was really an hour plus. Got the tuners installed, got the neck installed, got the neck plate, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell from the time lapse. Go back and watch it. I'll slow it down as much as I can, but so much for trying to use a vintage brass screw in your vintage brass strap button, because I had to drill the plate so it would drive right through. I threaded the hole. I used the, without the plate in place, I used the drill to put the screw in, and when I'm tightening it up, tighten, snap, broke right in two. This is the last brass screw I'm ever going to try and use. They're just not worth it. It's just going to break. So I got this good old Schaller, which I knew was hardened tool steel machine screw there. I had to open up the strap button just a tiny little bit. I had some problems getting the neck to, that's a big piece of stock there, getting the neck to seat properly. And I checked and double checked to make sure my holes all lined up. When I'm driving the front screws, it was wanting to push the neck. But, I put the plate on backwards, had to take it off. Broke the screw, had to take it off and monkey around with the vice grips and everything else to pull that screw off. So when I went to put it on the last time, snugged up nicely. So there you go, Bob's your uncle finally. Anyway, next time we see this, we are going to do final assembly. So it's what's going to be no time for you guys is probably going to be a week, at least, 2 weeks, 10 days. I'm waiting 2 to 3 more weeks for my parts. I added that pickup ring. It slowed down production. It told me 2 to 3 weeks about a week ago. So going to be a couple weeks for me. No time, split second for you guys. Cool. All right, so we're here in the basement, which means, and you can see the Explorer project here, mounted to the bench. I just got a clamp on here. Didn't go ham on it. have a piece of cardboard here that gives a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to drill out for a standard input jack. And it's a shame that it wasn't done to this guitar, but Explorer body's already pretty heavy. No way I can abide by using that end pin jack, so this has just got to be what it's got to be. Standard Gibson style or Charvel, Jackson, whatever style input jack is 7/8 of an inch in width. They do 7/8, a half inch is for like a barrel style jack. I've measured and measured and measured, and Gibson puts it about 2 7/8 inches if you were to draw a straight line here from the base of the guitar. So it's up quite a bit further than you'd think it would be. I thought it would be somewhere down here, but I measured Gibson and I have a couple knockoff, and that's where it's going to be. So I've got it already marked, got my drill bit chucked, got some tape to protect the finish. I know I need to drill about to the end of the spade bit here, not taking into account the point. So let's just let some sawdust fly. This drill bit must be dark, dull, or this body wood is hard as a rock. This is not going. And I'm running out of juice. Really fine sawdust here too. Guess I gotta go get another battery. Let's pause. All right, well, this drill bit's pretty sharp, I thought. I have no experience with drilling mahogany. I was expecting huge chips of wood to be flying and that this would go like a hot knife through butter, and that is really not the case. So, all right, well, that was difficult, and you saw the smoke rolling off that and the really fine sawdust. Wow. So we're gonna give another brief pause. I gotta line up. I have to drill a hole into the cavity, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to use the center point that I already have here and try and just drill straight into the cavity there. So stand by. All right, let's get this through hole drilled here. Yeah, there we go. And that's like a hot knife through butter. All right, well, didn't really like the spade bit. Like I said, pretty old bit. I thought it was pretty, this thing is hotter than heck, my friends. I thought it was pretty sharp. Maybe it's just old and dull, kind of like me. But there you go. We have the output jack hole drilled, 7/8 of an inch. That is perfect to accommodate your normal Switchcraft jack. Have a nice plate on order. I went with a square, and it's going to be brass, and it's going to be aged, and it's going to look choice. So let's get this thing cleaned up, back on the workbench, and finish this thing up. All right, back up here on the workbench, and very luckily I found this in my parts bin. I wired this up for another project, and the wires were too short. Well, guess what? They are plenty long for this project, so good on me. Believe it or not, this is too short for a standard Strat with a output jack on the side, like a Charvel. This is too short. You needed at least another 1.5 to 2 inches. Who doesn't need another 1.5 or 2 inches, right? Haha. Anyway, we are going to paint all of the cavities with shielding paint. Is it necessary? Does it really work? Is it just a placebo? I'm not sure, but I'm just building this one guitar for myself. I want it to be nice. So I'm going to paint in here. I'm going to paint in the cavity. And this Gibson wire here is for the end pin jack, you know, the 2-conductor wire. And the yellow one is, thankfully, the ground to the bridge. So I'm going to paint in here. And I'm going to shield the cavity with a piece of tape, because why not? Create that Faraday cage. We are going to paint in there as much as we can, just because I want to make it black, and we'll also paint it with the shielding paint. Again, does it really matter? Some guys are like, oh, your pickup is a giant antenna anyway. Or sounds like actually like a good topic for guitar myths. Does shielding paint really work or does it not? I had a custom made guitar years ago. I think I've mentioned this before. Really nice, just a single hum Charvel Strat style. Absolutely not a drop of shielding, no tape, no paint, no nothing. And the guitar sounded and played fantastically. Charvel back in the day used to put a brass shielding plate in their guitars. That would be kind of cool if this had a Charvel style, kind of a squashed parallelogram sized cavity, then possibly I would do that. But I'm not going to bore you. We're going to go to the time lapse for the shielding paint, because that is pretty tedious and no one wants to watch that. Kind of neat to watch it dry under the time lapse as well. And then we will get to some wiring, probably also under time lapse, because wiring is super boring. All right, let's go. Right. Parts are finally here from Frets on the Net. You can complete the build here. So let's get this going on here. Pretty excited. You wait you wait a long time for his parts, but they are worth it. Oh, this is new. The sticker here. I don't know if I'll be able to get it off. Ooh, all right, that's all right. Didn't hurt the sticker. That's pretty cool. Dig that. Got a huge sticker collection, as you probably do as well. He buys any quantity of parts, guitar gear, whatever, definitely accumulates the stickers. Whoop. Did I even cut into that? Yeah, I guess I did, just barely. Huh, weird. All right. Gotta give you this stuff for free. That's why everyone uses it. Yeah, I forget. He likes to wrap stuff in paper towels. Which is pretty brilliant, actually. I don't care at this point. Usually I'm a little more meticulous, but this stuff's going right on the guitar. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Nice. Look at that. Solid brass pickup ring, and that's made to DiMarzio specs. Got the slight angle, deep recesses, that, and it's relic as well. That is a thing of beauty. Oh, it's still cold. Weird. What we got here? I think this feels pretty light. Yes. Oh, no screws. That stinks. But these are the Charvel string trees. Really hard to come by. I bought two. Probably going to paint one with a brass black and have a brass black one. And the little risers. No screws, though. No biggie. No biggie. Gonna have to use gold screws, though. And last but not least, I'm definitely going to need this, is, yeah, look at that. Nice. The brass output jack plate. It's the thing of beauty right there. Yeah, these are going to look great on the guitar. All right, so let's get the guitar on the bench and get this thing finished up. All right, cool. All right, real quick before we get to work here, I did source out all of the screws that I needed through going through my parts drawer over there. They're all gold tone, it's just gonna have to do. So I got that. That's for the pickup. Those are extremely bright gold there. I think I used the same one for the string tree. And what did we decide for the pickup? Well, the sewer. Doug Aldrich is what I decided on. And I realized that both the Doug Aldrich pickup and the Lynch Hunter or Exciter, whatever you want to call it, are F-spaced, 53 millimeters between the poles. The only one I have that is Gibson spaced is the Dirty Fingers, but I didn't want to run a double cream for the look, so we're just gonna have to make do. But I did get, of course, this thing doesn't want to come open now. I did get the pickup ring mounted. I got nice brass screws there, and I did have to hog out the mounting ring holes just a little bit. Number 440 for those nice brass screws. So that's the idea. That's going to look pretty choice. So, oh, one more thing. I made a strap. And this is just a inexpensive Levi's strap. It's Levi's, it's not Levi's, like Eugene Levy. I had some of these diamonds from 20 years ago plus where I made some straps. So if you look close, you can see what I was trying to do was make the radiation symbol. There's the center and the outward little chevron kind of things there. So just kind of cool. And that's supposed to be my initials. It's supposed to be a J and a C, kind of my little trademark right there. If you ever find that in a guitar, I built the guitar. And I'm sure no one's going to be furiously scribbling that in a guitar because it certainly doesn't make it any more valuable. But this is just a nice padded strap, and they're selling them now. They used to the padding used to be a little bit bigger. They were $70-$80, but this was like, I think this was $25 on the Amazon. But yeah, not too bad. Pretty cool. Because I'm going to permanently mount the strap on there. Well, permanently. It's going to be held on with like those Grolsch kind of strap locky things. And I'm not going to use the shallers. So anyway, let's get on to the time lapse and get this all installed. Cool. All right, well, this concludes the PrePro Chandler PrePro project. Got it all put together. It's all tested. Everything's working properly. Weird thing, the regular output jack, pretty bold and loud. The end pin jack, it works, but it was pretty quiet. Weird. I'm not sure. And the even though I bypassed the kill switch with the end pin jack, it still cuts the output when the end pin jack is used. Not going to use it anyway, so whatever. It is what it is. Ran into some issues, of course, with the holes. Didn't quite line up, but they're pretty close. I was able to cheat them a little bit. No problem there. Had some issues there. Pre-drilled and used wax on the screws. You guys probably saw that. And still, is it straight? I guess it's straight enough. Yeah, got the back plate put on. let's see here. Oh yeah, that was a bummer. So I had to modify the Charvel string tree, the little standoff. Came with, I ordered 2 string trees, 2 standoffs, and they both were the tall ones, and really you need a short and a tall. So I took one out to the sander, and it's brass, it's sanded down easy to make the short one, but look at where the high E string ends up there. I can see that without the glare. The previous string tree was one of those hook over kinds where it hooked over the string and it kind of forced it to be where it needs to be. These Charvel string trees don't have the grooves cut in them. So really, I mean, if you look, what it needs to happen, it's just kind of such a bummer, is I need to pull this out, fill the hole, re-drill it, and move this thing down just a little bit. I mean, that's a bummer. You know, we've got some growing pains, I guess. Stand by for just 1 minute. We'll go handheld and we'll just give a nice overview of the thing. Gonna have to wait till a different video for the playing demonstration. I'm not gonna lose monetization on this video, and of course I could just play just whatever, but it honestly, it needs a little bit of tweaking. Oh, shout out to my friend Mike over at 40 Grit Guitars. If you see that there, did I put it on the right way? Check his channel out. Lots of good stuff on there. He's got an insane collection. He's a really good player, super knowledgeable. He worked for Sur. It could use, it's decent. It could use, there's a full width shim in the pocket, if you remember, to get the angle for the Tune-O-Matic. I think it could use a piece of paper, a piece of business card stock or something there to get better action. So like I said, you know, there's some growing pains. Does ring out like a bell. I strummed it just a little bit. Bear in mind the strings have not been stretched. That's great. Nice clam in there anyway. Sounds pretty good. Intonation, I just double checked it. I think one string, probably the G, of course, needs to be moved just a little bit, but the rest of them seem to be spot on. So real quick, yeah, let me get you that pause like I promised and get you the overview of the instrument. Stand by. Right, well, there she is in all her glory. Usually I move my Patriots Man Cave banner out of the way. If you ever see this picture, the green door frame and the cream colored door on reverb, that's one of my guitars. I left all the string tails on there. I can't stand that, but I had to do it because I'm going to have to take that neck off. Probably hopefully just the one time. Put a shim under, sneak a shim under there. And I should probably do it right now. You're not going to see it, but I should do it now while I'm motivated. But I'm very, very, very happy with the overall product there. Gonna have to address that string tree somehow. I think maybe instead of moving it, I'll just get like a file and I'll cut a little groove in it. I contemplated running 2 as well. I think it sounds better when you've got that angle, that really steep angle over the headstock with a second string tree. I think it sounds a little better. You guys tell me what you think. Again, 40 Grit, my buddy 40 Grit, check out his channel. Yeah, so it's been a long road, and I took you along for a lot of it there. Did a lot of videos on this. I just heard a ping. Bet you anything that was that high E string slipping off the string tree. So that cover there, that's what gave me the theme for the whole thing, and I just kind of went with it. So let's see. No. Yep. That's what it was. That little ping was that string. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something there. I'm not sure what. Yeah, God, I'd love to. A little blob of solder or something on there to hold it. Anyway, my friends, thanks so much for sticking with me for the whole. If you watched all the videos in the series, I think we're up to part 6 here of the Chandler PrePro build. super happy with how it came out. A little bit of tweaking, and we're going to have a really nice guitar to add to the collection. Super happy with all the little things, the brass stars bridge, Schecter knob, Sur pickup, the relic solid brass pickup ring, the Schaller tuners. It's Schaller, it's not Shaler. Stop saying Shaler, people. It's Schaller. The Charvel replica string tree, the paint job, the Rising Sun paint job, the danger radiation, the kill switch, the input jack. They're really happy with the overall project. So as always, my friends, truly do appreciate your support. Thanks for the view. You're new to the channel, please click subscribe. Hit me up in the comments. Love to get the comments. Let me know what you think about this guitar. What would you have done differently? What do you like? What are your thoughts? Hit me up. I still respond to all of my comments. Please give me a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. I'm recommending these videos, and I'm cranking them right out. Trying really hard here. So always close with truly do appreciate your support. This ends out the build of the Chandler PrePro style Explorer build. Rising Sun, danger radiation. All right, my friends, take care. One more horns up for the metal.